And then Karn will look at us very sternly.
Why does he have 3C on his chest? He has never costed that much, and he never will.
Must be a friend of Thought Nazi or something. Yeah.
He could be. He's got.
What? I don't know. I'm sure there's some very deep, intricate reason why it says 3C.
Maybe he'll get a spell that costs that much when he comes back.
You think Karn will come back?
Well, the plot of the Mirrodin thing was like never completely resolved, right? It was just like partially resolved.
The resolution to Mirrodin was Venser fucking died. Karn was like, "Aha! I live!" And his reaction to that was just getting the fuck out.
Yeah, and Elish Norn killed Jin Taxis or whatever, killed that guy,
Yeah.
and that's basically all I remember.
Yeah, and also like Urabrask was a cool dude. This is the gauntlet. This will be the gauntlet. This is some sort of gauntlet. Hello,
And
everybody.
hello, everybody. That's what we're doing. That, by the way, we're doing the modern gauntlet.
So I'm going to explain this first for those who are watching now and not aware of this, for those watching on the archive and weren't around during this, etc. This is a new feature that's on Magic Online. This is they added this thing called the Pro Tour Gauntlet. So what the Pro Tour Gauntlet is a 60 Phantom Point event where you are given a random deck out of a list of 16 decks from Magic Online from the latest Pro Tour from last week.
Also, no leagues don't really exist. So.
Standard leagues exist, basically, but leagues exist, but not like limited leagues, which is the leagues I would find the coolest.
Okay, but back to modern gauntlet.
Modern Gauntlet. I'm gonna go ahead and link a link in the chat for those to take a look at. This is the. No, you actually don't. There are 16 different decks pulled from all players who went 7-3 or better in the modern portion of the event. There were 16 rounds, 6 of those being draft and 10 of those being modern. Within those, there are 3 Eldrazi decks: blue, red, blue, black, and colorless. Affinity, Chord Combo, Burn, Jund, Abzan Company, Zoo, Scapeshift, Through the Breach, Mardu, Death Shadow, Aggro, Infect, Blue Moon, and Jeskai Control. The way this is going to work is I'm going to get handed a random deck. The other 7 players in the pod will be handed a different random deck. We should not be doubling up. There are 16 for a reason, so you don't always know what the 8 are. You're given 3 minutes to take a look, and like if you want to change things up between main and sideboard, you can, but you probably shouldn't. And then it's Swiss.
And then it's Swiss, and we'll get to probably get handed a really wacky deck we have no idea how to play, or we'll get like a burn and just like autopilot.
The thing here, and the thing I'm sort of interested in, yes, the decks include sideboards, is that I can sort of, with a number of these, I can tell you like kind of the history of the deck with a lot of them. I guess the first is trying to find the damn thing. I'm guessing like constructed.
Oh, is it under leagues perhaps?
Standard serial elimination.
No, Pro Tour Gauntlet.
Pro Tour Gauntlet. There it is. So 60 play points. Shaka shaka.
That's what Ocelot called himself. Note it isn't, but we can pretend it is.
The prizes are 90 for first, 60 or for 3-0, 60 for 2-0, for 2-1, and then 20 for 3 and 1.
So your odds of getting your winnings back are kind of low,
Well,
but who really matters?
50-50, actually. All right, what are we playing today? Oh boy, I see.
It looks like we're playing.
Scapeshift. I see Scapeshift.
Okay, we're playing Scapeshift.
All right, so let's actually sort this by CMC so I can show off the deck a little better. Scapeshift. This is a Scapeshift combo deck that is going to be using Scapeshift, this card right here, to go ahead and sacrifice all of our lands to play Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle, and 6 or 7 mountains to deal 21 damage to our opponent and just fucking murder them.
The side plan of that include getting to attack with Primeval Titan and using some lightning bolts to assist in that. We also have a bunch of really good ramp, like the Sack Tribe and the Relic, Search for Tomorrow. Relic of Progenitus in the main deck is kind of funny.
This deck is very straightforward. I won't go into the history of Scapeshift combo right now, but suffice to say that Scapeshift is a deck that has existed for quite a while in Modern in different forms. I guess since Valakut
started
got pulled
when
off. So.
You go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I also wanted to touch on... I didn't want to touch on that right now because we still have a sideboard to touch on.
Mm-hmm.
We have Ancient Grudges for the Affinity matchup, along with Nature's Claim. We have Inferno Titans to go big. Obstinate Baloths against Lilianas. I mean...
Yeah, Anger of the Gods as our... what really should be Fire Spout, but...
I think Anger of the Gods is best in here because we don't... the actual removal on this matters for Kitchen Finks and such. And we have no reason to want it to be Fire Spout, so the anger actually matters.
Okay, and then we also have Sudden Shock as like a funny piece.
I can't quite say why Sudden Shock is in here. It might be like to interrupt. Like I'm not intimately familiar with the sideboard choices on here, so the Sudden Shocks are a bit elusive to me, but we'll find out.
So if we see a creature it kills, it's important.
Infect that could be good against because they can't pump in response.
Yeah, that kills before they can Vastwood it or whatever.
Yeah. Our matchup against Eldrazi is going to be pretty funny because it's basically going to be, does our opponent have the Thought-Knot Seer? So the thing is that Valakut needs mountains, so we have mountain, Stomping Grounds, and Cinderglades.
For more mountains.
Yep. We even have Windswept Heaths.
Yeah, those fetch our mountains. It's really 4 Cinderglade and 1 Stomping Ground.
Mm-hmm. So this
when you're playing this deck.
Now the thing is, I'm not actually very familiar with this list. Going back to the history of it, Scapeshift historically has actually been a blue-green combo deck.
And where you were just playing mountains to
you played Stomping Grounds and Steam Vents as your mountains.
That's what I figured. But the reason this deck can exist is you might recall, like last year when this is a turn 1 Search for Tomorrow. Is that good enough?
I think so. I think we also have a Scapeshift. The Summoner's Pact is a dead card in here, but is like a replacement Primeval. I think this hand is passable.
His hand's okay.
Yeah.
And a Clonny Hydra. Heart. I keep wanting to say Clonny Hydra. So this deck can exist again because I think it was like last year that Valakut got unbanned, right?
Yeah, maybe a little more than that ago. Like,
it was the same time that Nacatl got unbanned.
So one thing that's important to me here is that I'm going to be grabbing a basic forest, because I play Cinderglades and I want 2 basics and play for those.
Also, every mountain we have in our deck is
a mountain for later.
A mountain for later.
Mm-hmm. Well, now we also have the passable suicide option with the Summoner's Pact. Street Wraith. This tells me our opponent is likely on the Death's Shadow aggro deck.
They had an opening.
So the Death's Shadow aggro deck, I can speak a little bit about, is about using like Phyrexian mana spells and Street Wraith to make Death's Shadow usable. The big thing here is that it's going to make my kill easy. Though the thing is, I'm still going to need 7 lands, so it doesn't really make it easier.
Yeah, we're still going to need lands, and our opponent could also just murder us because if the Death's Shadow can come into play...
Our opponent's on 13 to start, and he's probably leading with either a Monastery... Yep. Living End is a deck that is played, but it is not one in here.
Probably due to it just being difficult to play is one thing.
Well, this is from the Pro Tour, so I wouldn't take that as a huge...
I mean for people just jumping in to try stuff out.
They did actually specifically not put Lantern Control in here. Because of that. Okay, so if I actually draw a land off the top, we're in the world where I might be able to win on 4.
So what does Clonny Heart Expedition do again?
Landfall, put a counter on it. When it has 3 counters, double rampant growth.
Okay, so it's just cheap veggies then.
Yeah.
41 play points and an eighth of a QP. That's our expected value.
So we are going to get beat down a lot. Oh, yep, get probe. They're going to see, yep, we have cards in our hand.
Mm-hmm. So here, I'm already thinking about sideboarding. Do we want the any of our board removal for this guy?
Well,
Like a sweeper, perhaps.
I do have the list available. There are 4 Death Shadows, 2 Goblin Guides, 4 Monastery Swift Spear, 1 Tarmogoyf, 4 Wild Nicottle. So it is entirely possible that wow, our opponent is just they're gonna play a Death Shadow likely here as a 5/5. Well, I'm not like. Anyway, it might be worth like I'm not sure. Maybe like this beast. Ooh, I would really like this to hand me the land here.
You mean Beast Within just to kill a Death Shadow?
Yeah, because right now it's a 5/5. I might die next turn. It's actually quite likely. I'd put the odds on that pretty high. Spell. Ooh, all right. I guess I have a spell skite.
That can block something.
Yeah. Actually, I'm not going to draw that. My search for tomorrow is going to go off before that gets in my hand.
It might be okay though.
All right, so yeah, we're going to go to 14, and then I'm likely dead next turn. This deck is extremely fast, by the way. Just wanted to point that out. That's
the point.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and grab Forest. So we do want to... Yes. Alright. So at this point, if we don't lose, we win. I mean, I realize that's those are words, but it's a truth. Because at this point, the Scapeshift will be lethal. So my opponent does need me dead.
Yeah, because we can bust the Heart Expedition to get our 7th land, and we didn't even need all 7 bolts to win because our opponent's playing Death Shadows.
Yeah, the Teamer Battle Rage kills me flat out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're correct. If we don't lose next turn, that's the implied missing words there, we win.
Yes, if our opponent fails to kill us right now,
the game ends.
We win because the Scapeshift is in hand. Our opponent knows that. They're looking at a group of 5 right now, wondering what to do.
The thing is that they have been drawing like cards, but like what are they? They need to they need to jimmy up. They have 8. They need 6 damage pulled out of their stuff.
Mm-hmm. Which Timur Battle Rage would get them.
Just straight. All right, so a fetch actually gets them 3 points. Because of being able to pay life for Death Shadow. Mm-hmm. Now the question is, do they have like a bolt, or mutagenic growth, or become immense? They have a lot of cards that just win it for them here. We have to. This is a hell of a. All right, cool. Windswept Heath. So I'd say our odds of winning are very low here.
Mm-hmm.
It's very likely our opponent has like mutagenic growth. The thing is, does he actually want to pay 2 life for mutagenic growth? Not likely not. Likely he actually casts the card.
Yeah, because we could have secret. Yeah, here he goes. Okay, become immense. We are hyper dead.
We are like 16 times dead. Let's hope he Teamer Battle Rages for the hyper death. I would really like it if our opponent just pulled the like, washa, like, yeah, please. Yeah!
Behold.
Behold. My face is... So check this out. This is literally on my opponent's 3.
Mm-hmm. Our opponent, Modern is a turn 4 format, they say.
And the best thing here is he needs to do that or he dies.
Or he dies. Yes. So we have some sideboarding to do,
Yeah, well,
perhaps.
let's go ahead and sideboard.
Um, do we have a
Now,
fourth bolt to bring in?
the
No, we
relics,
do not.
the relics seem too slow and not usable.
Yeah, they would. He's going to be cycling too much for it to work against.
Bring in the angers. Are the sudden shocks worth
They
it?
do kill Goblin Guide and Monastery Swift Spear.
Pact is too slow too. Yeah, likely. Um. Yeah, I'm not. Again, I'm not familiar with sideboarding for this deck, so a lot of this is just kind of instinct.
I don't think Obstinate Baloth cuts it, but he does gain his life.
Sudden shock. Yeah, sudden shock is shock with split second, which means they can't. That
They
actually,
can't respond.
I'm gonna do that.
Also, this does give us the comedy option of perhaps just burning out our opponent.
Yeah, that's kind of why I might want the third sudden shock.
Yeah, what we put in over it or take out for it.
I don't really want to take out anything else. Like everything else
Mm.
is like combo pieces, which I don't want to cut. Or like Spellskite's good in this match because it steals pump spells.
It steals pump spells, it blocks, it eats bolt. So it does everything Skite does, which is a lot.
Yeah. So again, we were on the play with the turn 4 win and we lost.
Um,
My gut tells me this is just not a keepable hand in the matchup.
yeah, I don't think it is either. I think we have to.
For one, this doesn't even have the combo in it. For two, this hand doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it's got a turn one search for tomorrow. This also
This
kind of sucks.
Sucks. Yeah. Holy shit.
I guess we lead with Glade.
I'm okay
And
with it.
then-
I'm gonna try it.
We lead with Glade, and if we top a deck, do we keep that for, or do we want to draw land for Clunny? I think Explore is probably.
I don't think I
Explorer-
want. I don't think I want to explore. Explore's a fake card. Like the land is just as useful. I'm also
And if
leading
we,
Cinderglade.
because if we can like play Heath, then crack it, that gives us 2 counters for the
Yeah,
expedition.
I would like to do that. So opponent's going to be doing their thing, which is crushing my face.
Fewer cards this time. They haven't cycled any street raids yet.
They mulled the 6.
Yeah.
So they're a Goblin Guide off the top. Oh, Thoughtseize. Well, joke's on you, asshole.
Yeah, joke's on you. What if he takes the shock because we have both Scapeshifts?
What if he takes Kalani Heart Expedition and makes his hand look like an absolutely horrible choice? Oh yeah!
There he goes. Okay.
All right. Make sure his mother freaking bobble. That cycles.
That does cycle.
Also prowesses.
Mm-hmm.
This deck literally wants to be a 48 card deck. They're my opponent's, not mine. All right. We're not cracking that fetch.
Yeah, not yet. And now he takes the shock, probably.
Probably takes a shock, yeah. Because our hand looks. Oh no, he's taking the prime
He
time.
took the Titan.
Oh, okay. So our opponent doesn't have action.
That's good,
good.
but neither do we.
Yeah, I was just saying, neither do we. All right. But yeah, this is Magic. This is actually the modern decks. Like, this is actual.
At least
construction.
our opponent is getting themselves down into burn range.
All right, come on, give me the Goblin. Yeah, Goblin Guide. All right, I need lands,
Do we let that thing live just to get land?
perhaps. Thank you. I'm not cracking the fetch.
Not until we need to.
I'm okay taking some damage. Oh boy, we're halfway there.
We're halfway there. Let's come on, man. Burn is fake. You need your death shadows to be bigger.
I actually want to crack one of these windswept heaths for a red source at some point.
Mm-hmm. So that we can have both up, have 5 damage up.
Correct. Okay, Nicodle.
That is a 2/2.
Uh-huh.
No planes. There he goes.
Goblin
Yeah,
guy.
come on, Goblin guy. Draw us lands.
Scapeshift entered the revealed card zone. Excuse me. Hold the fuck on.
I disagree.
Hold the fuck on. We're grabbing a Cinderglade here. Because I want to make sure that I have enough red.
Mm-hmm.
It might be better to grab Forest there, but I really want to be able to play the burn. Here it is!
Okay.
Here's that Death Shadow.
We could just kill that.
You are correct. I don't think that's how we win, though.
Yeah, I don't think it is how we win either. I mean, we can do it to not die. Although we really can't, because he's probably paying the life as a cost.
Yeah.
So we let Goblin Guy show us the first card off our top to decide if we want to crack or not.
Search for tomorrow. That's not good enough.
Yeah, that's basically the plan. We get Volakut in play with Primeval Titan probably, or just drawing it, and then put 7 mountains into play.
Oh boy. So 1 mana 3/3s, the team. So let's go ahead and grab basic forest. And we get a counter.
I believe we are dead.
Uh-huh. Very likely. We need our opponent to do something stupid. Burn your life total at the stake, even though they don't have to.
Now he's just going to force us to use our burn on his creatures.
Which is going to
Although
fail. No, Anger of the Gods enter the revealed card zone. No, fuck.
A day late and a dollar short, my friend.
Hello.
Our opponent would just be out of it if we had drawn that last turn.
Mm-hmm. Well, he would pump in response or pay life in response.
True.
He would probably like mutagenic growth. Anyway, let's go ahead and lose the game when he pays life to mutagenic growth.
Yeah, there he goes.
I'm sorry. No! You fucker!
Our opponent is very stylish.
That owns.
So our opponent goes to 5, and then we lose.
That is maybe the best counterspell in the world.
Our opponent cast a Brute Strength.
They literally, I will counter Lightning Bolt with Lightning Bolt. I am a wizard. Anyway, we're dead. We're gonna take a 20 right now.
Yeah, we're taking our lumps, and surprisingly, our match is finished.
Yeah. So
what do you think about Scapeshift, Jens?
I don't know how. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about the history of Scapeshift as a combo. Scapeshift. I'm having problems like saying the word Scapeshift. Scapeshift as a deck used to exist as a blue-green red a deck back in Modern before the banning of Valakut for a while. It was a blue-green deck where you would play blue tempo spells, things like Remand, like maybe even like you'd play Remand, you would play Peer Through Depths to find things, you would play Repeal. Repeal was pretty common. Is It Charm probably was around before it got rotated. But you would play these blue disruption spells to keep yourself alive, and your ramp would be something like Sack Tribe Elder, Explore, And like like you wouldn't be playing a combo deck to kill on turn 4. You were playing a bit slower game until you got to 7 lands with like sack tribes and things. Like Kalani Hard Expedition wasn't a card in the deck at the time. And then you would go ahead and you'd cast Scapeshift with Remand backup or something like that sort of thing, and it would rule. It would also use, I guess, Augur Bolus maybe, I don't know, but back then it was a blue green deck, which is funny because it was a blue green deck that featured mountains. This deck, which is from the current Pro Tour, a deck piloted by let me pull up the Thean Nugan. He went 8-2 with this list at the Pro Tour. As you've seen, this list is very straightforward. This does one thing and one thing well.
You get lands into play, and then you cast Scapeshift.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yep. So, Primeval Titan acts as the second copy of Scapeshift.
Because it can put...
It can go grab Valakuts, and then it can attack. So you put 2 Valakuts into play, and that's sweet. And then you attack, and you put, like, 2 mountains into play, and then it triggers Valakut for, like, 12 damage, and then you attack for 6, and your opponent dies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you cast Scapeshift, and then you throw Joe into the volcano. And
he dies.
And he dies. that's how it works. You saw in match 1 how it sort of would have played out. Where we actually had the turn 4 win. Our opponent just had the absolute fastest start.
Yeah, that was an extremely fast start. Turn 3 kills are uncommon, I want to say. You're not supposed to do that in Modern, but occasionally it does happen.
You're not supposed to do that reliably, and that's very
true.
not
consistently.
And the deck isn't consistent, as we kind of saw in round 2, where like he was just playing 2/2s, and we couldn't beat 2/2s.
And we couldn't beat 2/2s because we were playing a combo deck, and we didn't have our Anger of the Gods in our hand.
Yeah. But yeah, so looking back at it through the time, like Scapeshift decks, also back in the day, there were Scapeshift lists that played Prismatic Omen. Omen, it wasn't like it used to be a card for it for a long time ago. It currently isn't, and it hasn't been for a while. Prismatic Omen says all lands you control have all basic land types, which actually gives Valakut
it makes Valakut a mountain.
Yes. Which makes the kill a lot easier.
Because you go get Valakut with your Valakuts in play, and then it chains off itself.
Yep. So that actually got dropped from the deck after they realized that basically you could just get away by playing shocks.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically you could get away playing a blue-green deck with 9 mountains and 4 Valakuts or whatever they played. So. It's a very interesting deck. It's very quick. Looks like Shaka and V-Red Panda probably have some sort of control match going on. I would probably put one of them on the where is it, the Jeskai control list, which actually has its win con is Kiki Resto.
Really?
Well, it's one of its win cons. It's also Celestial Colonnade or Bolt plus Helix or Resto Angel just attacking you for,
Wasn't it? Didn't I mention
you did
when Twin got banned that I wanted some kind of Jeskai deck with Kiki?
Yeah,
that's cute.
Yep, it plays that, and it's again very, very good at that. Other than that, so I would bet that it's probably that list playing against another opponent that does not have a very fast deck, because if it did, it would likely be over. So maybe it's something like that deck against, perhaps, probably not one of the Eldrazi decks or Affinity. Like, the thing is, this is a very fast format in that, your early turns matter a lot.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that the game, this might not be an accurate representation of all decks, this match right here, but it is sort of accurate in that all the turns mattered very heavily.
Yes, all of our dead draws were very important to us.
Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting. Again, this specific list is just not one I'm terribly familiar with, but we'll see how this pans out. I hope to be able to at least show you the Valakut combo at least once.
I hope we do that too. I'm also a little bit sad that apparently nobody went 8 or better wins with shamans because that's we have these edge decks that are sort of filling out the curve. Like we have Scapeshift and we have Death Shadow, which are sort of edge decks.
These
Scapeshift's a
are
known thing, but it's not mainline. It's not a mainline modern deck.
right. This is a deck played by a person.
hmm And I like shamans a lot because it's a deck whose win con is Gray Ogre. You're playing Rage Forger.
I've never seen that deck. I don't think that that deck appeared at the Pro Tour. I
Yeah,
think I
I
can
don't think it
say
did
that.
either. It's a real deck, but it's also you're playing 1 mana 1/1s. Like you're playing the 1 mana 1/1 elemental shaman that vamp tutors a shaman.
Yeah.
Like you do that to draw Rage Forger, and you like do that with like Elvish Visionary to just get a whole bunch of crappy shamans on the table, and then you cast Rage Forger and attack, and you do the whole Hellrider thing. So it's a fun deck, but it's not like a good one. But it's an edge deck, and like Scapeshift and Death Shadow.
Yeah, well, it's an edge. Well, but the difference is that like Scapeshift and Death Shadow were not only edge decks played by a player at the Pro Tour, but decks played by a player at the Pro Tour to great success.
Yeah, they did very well with those decks.
There's a very large difference there.
Yeah, I don't know if I know.
Because like the player who played this went 8-2, which that's an 80% win rate is pretty high at the
Pretty
Pro
good.
Tour.
What does Death Shadow do if they face burn?
If Death Shadow faces Burn, that's probably an interesting match. You for one, you likely your opening hands are going to have to be very different, where like you don't actually want to play all your own burn cards, but you want to start out like a zoo deck. I would bet.
Hey, you just want to play Zoo and hope your opponent lava spikes you into correct range.
Yeah, and then you like become immense for a kill, or that's where probably Teamer Battle Rage to steal games is what you're doing.
Yeah. I wonder how you board that. Do you just board into a regular Zoo deck? Probably not.
That could be like on the sideboard for the Death Shadow. Wow, there's 2 Hooting Mandrels on this board.
Oh man, do they just take their shadows out for Hooting Mandrels and try?
I see Phyrexian Unlife.
Really?
I mean, Phyrexian Unlife might be the answer to burn because you play that and you gain 10 life.
That is a way to gain life.
Well, not only does it say gain 10 life, but it says gain 10 life that makes your Death Shadow stay 13/13s. Which, by the way, 13/13 Death Shadow kills your opponent.
It does. Burn also, like, you're ramming your 2 power, 3 power creatures into each other. So it might depend who's on the play, but I think Death Shadow is at a disadvantage there. Unless, like, the Phyrexian Unlife comes in. Hard to say. Also depends if what kind of burn deck you're playing. Because if you're playing Naya Burn, they're probably if they lose to the Phyrexian Unlife, they're probably boarding into Bear Exalted 1 sec destroy target artifact or enchantment.
I don't. Probably not, like, because it's a 1-of on your board. You're not boarding into that.
Is it worth boarding a Hate Bear for that? I don't know. Naya Burn's not a weird deck. It's a very simple deck, but it's a deck I'm okay with.
Yeah. Well, like, also the sideboard doesn't have any copies of that card.
It doesn't.
No.
Interesting.
Well,
Probably.
One of the things about Modern is that your sideboard cards need to be incredibly powerful and quite are in the general, like, this is a general rule. Your sideboard cards are incredibly powerful and incredibly specific.
Yeah, you have to sideboard to the decks your matchup is worst at,
So, like,
not just for every deck. Yeah.
Ancient Grudge and Stony Silence are cards that, like, you see them and all of a sudden, like, they turn the match around. Deflecting Palm actually works like that too, where Deflecting Palm is actually a very common sideboard card in decks that have access to white and red mana. because it is an answer to Emrakul.
Yep, it is an answer to Emrakul because it does not target Emrakul. It targets the Emrakul's damage,
and then
which
and then you just whammo 15 damage reversal of fortune, and then your opponent's fucking dead. Not just normal dead.
they die.
They
They
die.
have taken damage at that point.
They die just as much as I just did right here. They they go to -13 and explode.
Like that works because there's no like sneak and show in modern. They try. Someone's playing that deck, hopefully.
I was saying
But
that the sneak and show actually does exist in modern. We'll see it maybe.
well, the sneak part, but the show doesn't. And the sneak is a one-time thing.
You don't need
Unless
more than one.
Hmm?
You don't need more than one.
You don't need more than one, yeah. But
like the deck is there's a number. We will encounter other.
I love
decks.
Goryo's Vengeance. What are you talking about?
I know.
I know that deck. Although I'm sad it's not playing Shoal.
Well, the deck basically. So the thing about the that deck is that deck is a kind of a step up beyond the Shoal deck, where it takes out the Shoal parts and puts in the Through the Breach combo to make it more resilient to hate. Because usually you can hate out one side or the other, but not both. It's very easy to hate out Goryo's Vengeance with, I don't know, Rest in Peace. But it's much harder to hate out Goryo's Vengeance and Through the Breach at the same time. And if you know what your opponent has against you, you can plan accordingly, because that deck right there plays like 20 cards that say draw a card on it. It's like
Yeah.
it's like 4 Faithless Looting, 4 Jace, 4 Serum Visions, 4 Is It Charm?
And it's sort of like
Maybe not 4 Is It Charm.
the version that plays Nourishing Shoal is a lot more like trying to be like Flash Hulk, because that version of the deck can literally win on your upkeep
Yeah,
in certain hands.
it's trying to be the whatcha and just
Yeah, it's trying to be
bam.
like, okay, I have a hand that can just kill you. Can you interrupt this? But
Mhm.
having blue mana and card filtering lets you just set it up to be more consistent. Like the whole point of Nourishing Shoal was just to be able to draw a shitload of cards. That's the purpose of the card.
Yeah, it's literally you play Grizzlebrand, you draw a billion cards, and
Mhm. And
so we actually have everything done except for the Shaka Shaka versus V Red Panda V, which is
I guess we will probably find out what deck they're playing because we are playing Swiss.
hmm Well, we will find out 2 more decks, and that's the interesting part here.
We will be able to piece together. We'll be able to look at the clues. But will we
Uncover
fight Tough Artist?
Tough Artist?
Mm.
What about Droko 9?
Ah, he's from a different district.
Yeah,
Actually, he won, so
I
we're
know.
probably
right. We would need to win, and he would need to lose.
yeah.
Yep, that's how it is. We will see 1/4 of the decks in this. R1 3 times, and 3 other decks. It'll be. I might do I plan on doing this and maybe one more, just to kind of try to show off a little more about modern. I can futz and talk about clues to Dracula's Pro Tour can be found at Braum Mansion.
Oh man, if it isn't Imracul living on the moon, I really hope it is Dracula, Castlevania 2.
Oh man,
That would be so good.
God, I would love it if they literally
What, reprinted Razor Tip Whip?
Nah.
Yes.
Yeah, no. If they could have they ever actually had like a whip equipment?
They've had grappling hook equipment, but that's not a whip.
Yeah, that was expensive. Yeah. Oh man, I was very happy with my FNM today. I played Red White Allies because in pack 1 I picked like a bunch of red cards, and then like 12th pick got Relief Captain, which is I don't know if you're familiar with Relief Captain in Limited, but that's a first pick.
Mm-hmm.
And then in pack 2 I first pick another Relief Captain. And then I just picked white cards from that point and played white red allies. I ended up almost losing to a player who had a 60 card deck in round 1. That was a hell of a match. He had the Seeker of Skulls or whatever, the Skull Sifter, the Skull Haver, as it will, and that card's
I have
incredibly
no idea what
powerful.
card that. What is that? What does that card
It's
do?
it's Pot of Ulamog, but better.
Oh,
It makes scions on creature death, and it's also a
also,
4/3 for 4.
yeah, there has been a whip equipment. Can you recall what it was?
A whip equipment, huh?
It's from Alara Reborn.
Oh yeah. Demon Hide,
The Demon Spine Whip. It's a
Demon
fine
Spine Whip.
equipment.
But yeah, Sifter of Skulls, the Skull Haver. But yeah, so Skull Haver was very Skull Investigation Sportsman. Yeah. So, but yeah, so and then in round 2 and round 3, things went very well. I ended up winning 3-0 and got 4 packs for my trouble because the thing with the drafts is that they're very cheap to enter. They're only $10 as entry, so the prizes are not as high. But I will take $10 to play a draft because that's very cheap, especially compared to, like a normal draft, which is usually 14. Anyway, I got 4 packs for my trouble, and I think I opened something like I got 3 packs of Oath and 1 pack of Magic Origins because I wanted to fish for flip planeswalkers.
And what did you open in your fish pack?
Let's see. My fish pack was Nissa.
So you opened a Flipwalker. Is that what you're telling me?
I opened one of the 3 flipwalkers I wanted for the cube. So
And it's too bad you didn't open Jace then, because that's the expensive one.
I'm aware, but this is the second expensive one.
That's very true.
And then the other cards, I like. On top of that, I opened like what was the other Kalitas and I'm sorry, Kalitas, and a couple other like usable rares, but the Kalitas is the main one because the Kalitas actually goes into the cube too.
What is the taskbar glitch happening again? Nice.
Oh, sweet. Let me refresh. That's all I have to do is refresh.
It's just very weird that happens.
Thank you. But yeah, that's a. But yeah, so Nissa, Jace, and I actually am looking for a Gideon because there is Elite Vanguard in my cube, and Gideon's a flat upgrade to Elite Vanguard.
Gideon is indeed.
Also, I would also play Liliana, to be honest.
Yeah, Liliana is like a fine walker. Chandra even is in certain decks, but you're not really a Storm deck in your cube, is there?
I have the Storm cards in there, but it's not real. Yogswill exists.
Well, the secret of Yogswill is a lot of different decks can play that and get away with it if they really want to.
Very nice, Strange MD. That sounds like Red White Allies is one of my favorite archetypes in the format because it's very simple and straightforward, and you don't have to like futz around with like wastes. You don't have to. You just play normal. You just play normal Magic, and sometimes you run up against players who are trying to do like fancy shenanigans, and you crush them.
Or they do something impressive.
Oh, I did. I also first picked a Fall of the Titans. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't bring that one up.
Oh, yeah, you first pick the... the more I think about that card, the less I know exactly what to think of it.
It's weird.
Because wouldn't you sometimes rather have Rolling Thunder?
Sometimes, but not always. Because
many of the times I feel, but yeah.
I don't even think many of the times. I think because it's an instant. See.
Yeah, it's an instant, so it has its own tricks.
Like I only cast it one time, and the one time I cast it was mid combat for 5, and it was just like, all right, screw this combat, I win. Like.
Yeah, it's a good card, but
at that point it was literally pyrotechnics, but. The fact of the matter is that the card is extremely flexible.
Yeah, the card is very flexible, but yeah, I like the card a lot. Because I also really love Rolling Thunder. I guess they do different things, really. It's like the Fall of the Titans is by design like a 2-target spell. Like that's what you're doing with it.
Yep.
Whereas Rolling Thunder can be a Plague Wind type card.
But the problem is, like, in order for Rolling Thunder to be a Plague Wind, you need to be able to sink like 6-7 into it.
Whereas if you play, a lot of the times you're playing Fall of the Titans as double shock or double bolt.
But yeah, I also not on top of the opening up. Dang, they went to game 3. On top of opening up the Kalitas and Nissa, which are going to go in the cube for next week. I picked up the fetches I needed, and I also picked up a hangerback walker because it was fairly cheap.
That's very good.
And I thought that hangerback would be a good addition.
Blue
So
White Flyers is a fine deck in those.
blue white flyers or blue white is my favorite archetype, like flat, because I really like both of the blue white uncommons. They're both incredible. Reflector Mage and Royal Spout. Royal Spout is by far and away like holy smokes. Like I guess I've drafted blue white Awaken like 3 times at the local shop, and I don't think it's dropped like a match because it's just you control the early game with like decent creatures, decent removal, and then your late game just crushes everybody. And you have this very large tempo advantage on everybody. It's very because you have so much good bounce. Things like Sweep Away, things like Clutch of Currents, things like Royal Spout, things like Reflector Mage. So I've said it once, I'll say it again. My favorite moment with Reflector Mage, playing it on 3 against my opponent's 3-drop, having them look at their hands, sigh, and pass on 4. It was beautiful. Where they're just like, I have nothing else I can do. I can't even play this guy I just had in my hand. Go.
Hooray!
Reflector Mage, all-star in Standard.
Yeah.
Uh,
Pretty good against standard creatures.
Funnily enough, it is something like sometimes Siege Rhinos need to be bounced.
Sometimes they do.
But, yeah.
A lot of moderate removal. Like, what do you mean by moderate removal? In white blue, what is the moderate removal in white blue?
Moderate removal, I take that in the sense of like Sweep Away isn't real removal, but and Searing Light isn't true removal.
Or like
but
Pin
it's
to
good.
the Earth. That's what I think of as moderate removal.
I think that's just flat bad removal. I'm thinking of non-permanent or very specific. Though the thing is that they also have Isolation Zone, which is like real removal, and they also have a couple other like pieces of real white removal, Immolating Glare and Uncommon. Sheer Drop, which I got to play. I got to play that in my deck today. Sheer Drop, always my favorite.
Sheer Drop's a very powerful card.
Isolation Zone is overcosted by 1 mana for constructed. Isolation Zone for limited is actually, I would say, undercosted by 1. I would pay 5 for exile target creature. So
yeah, five mana removal spell was what we usually get. Like, I guess the closest thing we've had to 5 exile target creature has been freaking like Tristani's Judgment. How much did that card cost?
Nowadays that's Oblivion Strike. That actually exists at 4 in this set.
Yeah, they've been making removal spells good, which I enjoy. Although I say that, and we had like Demon's Grasp in our deck, which is bad.
Well, bad removal exists, but good removal also exists. But yeah, Isolation Zone, like, yeah, whatever. It's slightly more expensive than it should be. Like, Journey to Nowhere was 2, and like a common and sweet, and I always would want to be playing Journey to Nowhere, but I will accept. Tristani's was 6. Angel's Edict or whatever. The card.
Angelic Edict
was 5.
Exile target creature or enchantment at sorcery speed.
And that was a card I played in limited.
Yeah, it was a card you were okay with.
It was kind of shitty, but like
the best removal spell at that impact at that weight class was Explosive. What's that card called?
Explosive Impact?
No, not Explosive Impact. Oh yeah, it was Explosive. I kept trying to say Sudden Impact, but Explosive Impact. Yeah. Sometimes that was player removal.
Unmake at 3. Yeah. But yeah, I'm because one of the other decks that Isolation Zone is just fine, I guess is the thing. Like also it goes around much moderate to me, overcosted, bounce, tempo-y, conditional. I don't think I would consider overcosted as moderate as long as it's like unconditional. Like
yeah, like the one that always, because I played so much Theros, was Sip of Hemlock, like that kind of effect.
That did the goddamn job.
Although that was special because Theros had really shitty removal by design.
Yeah. Holy hell, Theros said God garbage.
Also, like, that one card existed, God's Willing, which made
God's
all your
willing.
removal not work.
One mana, your removal spell fails. Put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Eat it. Throw.
Also, you get to scry.
Also, you get to flip the finger at your opponent for free. It's pretty good.
It was a fine spell.
Just throw the bird.
Probably the best spell of that type they've printed in a long time.
Yeah. Nothing like look. Nothing will ever be shelter. I bring up shelter a lot because
Well, because shelter is so unfair. Shelter is not
shelter.
always a protection spell. Sometimes shelter is an own your opponent spell.
Yeah, let me pull up shelter for those. I think I've talked about it, but I don't know if I've actually just flat shown shelter. Shelter! Target creature you control. It is you control.
Oh, what am I thinking of then?
No, you're thinking there's another card that is just target creature, but this one is literally 2 mana freaking draw a card. So
A lot of the Magic design sort of makes you think. Like the rule of thumb is if you want to make your spell cantrip, make it cost 2 more than the base effect. But this one already costs 2. Usually okay paying 2 to draw a card.
yeah, and also this like because it's so useful in all situations. It's
What's
like
that? Red had a spell like that, but it sucks. It's got reprinted, but it's never been great. It's
oh
3 mana, deal 1 flare. 3 mana,
Flare.
deal 1 damage, draw a card.
Zap. Zap is
Yeah.
the name of the non-slow trip one.
hmm
Could that card exist at 2?
I think it could easily exist at 2. Actually, it really depends on what format. If you're playing it in like Zendikar, then the card's Bamo. If you're playing it in other formats, then who gives a shit?
I would no at 2. I would play the hell out of it with prowess. I would be that asshole.
Oh yeah, and prowess.
Holy
Yeah.
shit! Would you play a spell that was you instant draw card? I've played spells that were almost that.
There's like Whisper of the Muse.
Yeah, it depends on the deck, but there are decks where I would play that. Yes.
Isn't there one that's just arcane? Like the
Uh,
purpose of it is to splice onto.
it has splice.
Right, that's the point. Yeah, you just use it
Actually,
to.
no. Sorry, it not only sorry that the one you're thinking of it doesn't have splice. But it is part of the unspeakable combo.
Yeah, it's like you draw a card and it's arcane, and then there's Peer Through the Depths, and then there's
Reach sift through sand.
Sift Through Sands. I think it's Reach Through the Mists or something like that, or Peer Through the Mist or something. And then if you have all of them together, you can. I never had those cards, but I did have the Unspeakable.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So bad news. One of our opponents dropped.
Yeah. No.
I know.
I guess we're fighting.
We're not fighting anybody yet. We haven't been matched.
I'm trying to guess who we're going to fight.
Well, we're fighting the tough artist.
Oh, the tough artist, and he is the false god. And this hand is okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I keep the. Yeah, this is sweet.
Do we open with grounds or
Stop.
heath?
Stomping ground. So our opponent is a birds puts our opponent on a couple different decks. Specifically, the most likely birds deck is the Archangel Chord, but there's also Abzan Company.
Yeah, Coco.
Um,
Does that play birds?
yes, those are the two that do. So we're gonna lead with Stomping Grounds. Would you like to pay 2
Paul
life?
Cooten hand is a little awkward, but
No, that's fine. We have 4 in the deck. It doesn't matter.
mhm.
Now the thing with this deck is that if it is the Chord deck, they actually have both of the decks have an infinite. Okay, let's just be flat clear there.
But on the other hand, we have a hand that could potentially just win on turn 4, so maybe we can
Yeah.
do something interesting. Reveal your colors to me, wizard.
Temple Garden. Temple Garden has me more likely to have them on Abzan Company.
That's what I think too.
Corsair Crufix. Oh, Corsair Crufix actually is the tell. That is only in the Archangel deck.
You might have a
Oh boy.
task bar. Just,
That was me flipping between like the deck lists.
mm.
Anyway, we're gonna play Mountain now.
Mountain into Connie Hart Expedition.
This is really good, by the way.
But
So,
having two of them?
yes,
Ooh,
actually, because the second one we can play before Scapeshift, and then this can go grab 2 more mountains.
that's very good.
So,
So they have Archangel of Thune in their hand when they draw. Let's see if they can do land off the top.
yeah. So we're going to get a land, and we're going to get Windswept Heath. We're gonna have a lot going on here.
Is that Spike Feeder?
Yes, that's the infinite. Oh shit, they have the infinite. They just flat have it in their goddamn hand. Okay. 'Cause the infinite is Spike Feeder plus Archangel. Those 2 cards combined give you infinite life for free.
Yeah. Remove a counter for gain 2 life. Whenever you gain life, put a counter. So
Okay. Well, life gain is infinite. Like when I say life gain, I literally mean they can gain infinite life.
mm-hmm.
So suspended card comes down. They won't be able to do it until we have 1 more turn. Because they can't cast both cards in 1 turn. Alright. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play Kalani Heart Expedition and the Fetch.
Yeah, that'll get us a lot of tokens.
Yeah.
Yeah, spikes are pretty good. I like spikes.
So we should actually be able to win this one.
Can we combo before our opponent gains infinite life?
I think we win this one by 1 turn.
I think so as well. I don't think they can pull that much mana because that's Spellskite and not another dork.
Unless they have
What, Stifle?
Buddy, that's
I don't think that doesn't do anything.
that doesn't
There
work.
you go.
Oh, maybe they just want to do nothing at me.
Mm. They wanted to tap Birds
Always,
of Paradise.
Yes.
Yeah. If our opponent did somehow gain infinite life, we would lose. I want to say we'd lose.
We would
because
lose. Yes.
Yeah.
So our opponent just has the combo, but we should be able to just win. Unless he can kill me, we'll find out. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm just gonna do this shit, I guess. Yeah. So land off the top, but Razor Verge Thicket. So it's just that's a mistake. That play right there is a misstep, I believe. That gains them life. They want to play the Archangel before they gain life.
Yeah, they should have played the Archangel first.
Yes.
That would have given their team +1/+1.
This is a very powerful card, by the way.
Yeah, the Gavany Township.
So I'll take the time to explain this deck in the downtime here. But there's the Archangel. I'm gonna go ahead and do all my futzing now. We're gonna grab Basic Forest again. So we want always yes. So Kalani Heart Expedition feeds into Kalani Heart Expedition.
But we have enough mountains.
Yes, we will.
Right, because we have Cinder Glades and
Yes.
Stomping Ground as well. Okay.
So I'm going to grab mountains. So we'll have 6 mountains to grab, which is exactly enough.
Because we have Cinder Glade in hand.
Yes. Anyway,
We're
gonna probably we win. This is
Yeah, we win.
so. I'm gonna show off how we throw our opponent into the Pule, as it were.
The Volcano Pule.
Yeah. So we take 3 here, which should be 4. Anyway, they do have the infinite just in hand, which is funny, but So the trick with this deck is that it's 2-color compared to the others. All right, so we're gonna play Valakut. We're gonna cast Scapeshift. Volcano blowout.
We just sacrifice everything but Valakut.
Volcano blowout.
Or do you want to sack Valakut to go grab Valakut?
Nope, that's fine. So we get 8 lands. So we get Valakut, Valakut, Cinderglade, 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 Mountain, Mountain, Mountain. And now, check this out!
Hooray!
Volcano!
So again, I think this is another. Skype makes it awkward. Actually, no. Who gives a shit about Skype? If we play Sudden Shock just to kill Spike Feeder,
Yeah.
Skype cannot interrupt that.
Right. We literally bring in Sudden Shock here as our interaction piece. It lets us interact with the combo. Volcano blowout.
Yeah, okay. They realize they are dead.
Yeah. Anyway, that was 18 triggers of Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle.
Which is a lot of damage, you might understand.
Yes. So let's begin the sideboard. So yeah, Sudden Shock is definitely an in here for the like Relic doesn't do anything here, which makes it an easy cut. I feel like Anger of the Gods is also still good, so I'm gonna bring one of those in. Over again, taking out the Pact. The Pact is probably okay.
Do we need Anger of the Gods doesn't kill Skite or
Okay, so that was a demo. I guess to back up. 4x5 is actually higher than the 3x6, but you can't actually do the 4x5 because the wording on Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle, says whenever a mountain enters play, if there are at least 5 other mountains, you may have it deal 3. So you actually need 6 mountains to trigger Valakut. 6. That's why I didn't do it that way. That's a common issue I've seen players with this deck do. Is they
miscount.
I've seen a person play Scapeshift with 7 lands and they go grab 2 Valakuts, 5 mountains, and try to kill their opponent. And then the opponent calls over the judge, and the judge is like, "Yeah, you deal 0 damage." And then they win the game anyway because they just play a mountain from hand, shock, like bolt, and just cast bolt like 12 times for the rest of the game and win sooner or later anyway. But so anything else seem good here?
Not really. I'm wondering about Anger of the Gods just because of
Actually, Spellscape.
well, he's got like he doesn't have a lot of dorks, but he also has 2 4s and no 4s and 3 4s.
Maybe then instead of Anger, we just want Summoner's Pact to be quicker.
Yeah, just to have more. I think between our bolts and shocks, we should be fine. If we want to put a pact out for an Anger just to try to sweep away dorks, I think that'd probably be okay. But going all in on the fire spout when he's playing like Spellskite and the 2/4. This is a slow hand.
I'm willing to keep it.
It's not a bad hand, but it is a slow hand.
Yeah,
I'm willing to keep it as well.
I'm willing to keep it. It's not a good. I don't know if I'd call it a good hand.
Opponent leads with the Horizon Canopy, a card that cost a crapload of dollars for some reason.
It's only
actually another reason.
It's only been printed once.
That's the reason.
No.
So our opponent didn't turn 1 dork. Our opponent
Walrus.
Yeah, Walrus. Yeah, it's a good dork. Also another card that Anger of the Gods is not so good against.
There we go.
Hey, no, this hand's better. Now, do we correct that immediately, or do we speculative try to draw the Kalani Heart Expedition?
I don't have a reason to crack it immediately. Like, I don't have a spell I'd really be casting.
Like, we're not casting Scapeshift next turn.
No, and, like, my list doesn't have anything I really... Actually, I guess it's thinning.
It is thinning, but we could also draw a landfall interaction. So there's like reasons to and reasons not to. I guess you're the judge as to which one.
Oh, this was great. I'm gonna play Search for Tomorrow. We're gonna grab a mountain this time.
To hold up bolt. Or do we hold it up, or do we just murder birds right now?
I'm gonna hold it up.
That's good. I think he could play.
If he plays Spike Feeder, I want to be able to kill it.
Yeah, if he plays the spike.
He has 6 mana here.
Wonder if Archangel's coming down.
If
This
Archangel's
could
coming
just
down,
beat us down with Archangel. Untapped Temple. Not Temple, but no, that is Temple Garden. Yeah.
Orzhov Pontiff. Looks like Orzhov Pontiff. So that's a 1 of in the list. It's a pretty good card. I'm actually going to be grabbing. Yeah, let's keep grabbing forests. No, actually, we want mountain here.
Any reason why?
Because my Primeval Titan's grabbing 2 Valakuts.
True. Yes. So what does Pontiff do exactly? I forget. Yeah.
+1/+1 your team, or -1/-1 your opponent's team.
So he was forcing us to use
That's correct.
Archsac Tribe. That seems a little weird. I guess if you want to blow something up with the bolt, here's your chance.
I'm going to take it because I'm not going to get another chance. So we're going to kill the birds now.
I thought about tempting you to go for the dome there.
Not worth it. Alright, so we're going to play the mountain, and we're going to play the Primeval Titan. Primeval Titan's going to go grab us 2 Valakuts, and then next turn when it attacks, is going to go grab 2 mountains to deal 12 damage plus the attack.
Yeah.
Also, I have Scapeshift in hand, so...
So we have many things to make this cool.
Valakut the Mountain Pinnacle, Valakut the Mountain Pinnacle.
I mean, we grabbed a 2, so if our opponent goes Ghost Quarter Tab, we cannot be defeated. Man, Ghost Quarter Tap when you have Valakut in play is like is kind of a dank thing to do, isn't it?
So this matchup's very much in our favor if they can't get the combo quick. They are a slow aggro deck if they're trying to be an aggro deck, and they need to draw a lot of their tutoring, which they don't have a lot of. He's probably just using Gavany Township here. Yes. Yes. So
-0/-1 counters combined with +1/+1 counters.
Anyway, I'm gonna go for the Primeval Titan kill here. So this is just going to be me attacking with Primeval Titan. And dealing damage. Once we're finished with this game, I'll talk more about Valakut as a card, and I'll talk more about our opponent's deck, because we'll have a lot of time for that.
So, Valakut is not...
So an interaction... So the way Valakut works, the reason this combo works at all, Valakut checks how many mountains are in play when it tries to trigger... so when these 2 come in simultaneously... I guess I'm not even going to get to finish this. I guess I can continue talking. So the way this works is that right now I have 4 mountains. I'm going to grab 2 and put them in simultaneously, and both the mountains are going to trigger Valakut because there are 5 other mountains in play at the same time. So I guess talking about Valakut as a legendary land. Valakut was printed in Zendikar the first time around. There was a cycle of lands. I'm actually going to go ahead and pop out of here so that I can... actually, let's go to return to data so that I can... Okay, there's still a match going on. So let me show off a couple of the others.
One of them might look familiar if you've watched us play Oath of the Gatewatch.
Yeah, that's right there. So
Reef, right there.
Oran Reef the Vastwood, which is a very powerful one. They all care about their own color. Well, actually, not all of them do. The blue one.
Wow, I didn't even realize that Ruins of Oran Reef sucked compared to...
It's on purpose. Because look, if that didn't target, holy shit, okay?
Yeah, I just play Eyeless Watcher.
Yeah, but then so Emiria is right here. This is a resurrection if you control 7 planes on a land, which makes it incredibly powerful. Go see.
There's a reason that has the commander symbol on
Magosi
it.
is not very good because you skip a turn to put it's a time vault, but there's no way to break it. And then the last one is crap swamps.
Bojuka Bog.
No,
That's
no,
not
no.
it, but I'm going to say that's the honorary one.
No, why is Swampland not coming to mind? Might not be that good. Anyway,
We'll show everyone Bojuka Bog. We'll pretend that's the correct one.
let me just send a car, and then we want
Crypt of Agadim.
type land crypt. Okay, for some reason I thought this card, the Crypt of Agadim, was actually from Shards, which is why I didn't bring it up.
Is this like trying to be a Cabal Coffers?
Yeah, it worked. There was a deck that played it, Crypt of Agadim. So yeah, I thought this was from Shards for some reason because all the cards you played it with were Unearth. That was the deck it was in. It was in this Unearth deck. Yeah. Anyway, so this cycle is all. You'll notice all of them are lands, not legendary lands, even though they're specific places. This was back when the legend rule was like destroy both. And they didn't want Wasteland to exist in any way. Like, they didn't want you to be like, I'm going to play Oran Reef on turn 1, and then your opponent just go Wasteland you. They didn't want that to be an interaction that could happen. So I think now, if these cards were printed with the new Legend rule, it's likely they actually would be legendary. Very likely, in fact.
Although I don't believe Ruins of Oran Reef is, because who cares? Like, that's
that's because the card is ruins. It's not a specific place of the Oran Reef. Oran Reef is in shambles. You can be in different places of it. But yeah,
the card is considerably less powerful.
Correct, which is why. Anyway, Valakut, that is also another reason why the Valakut deck works, is because the Valakut is not legendary. You control multiple copies of them. Anyway, I'm going to go back to talking about this deck. So this deck is a deck that has formed basically after the banning of Pod and after the ban, like in that world where no longer do you have like the Pod combo to go off the Malira, a way to easily get Malira going on. There's another deck that plays the Malira combo. That's actually the Abzan company deck actually does play the Malira combo.
Because you can play Finks and Viscera Seer on a Finza.
But yeah, the thing with this deck is that you can see from the mana base, there's actually some Lingering Souls and a single Overgrown Tomb and a Gauntlet Shrine in the deck, though you wouldn't know it from what our opponent grabbed. But actually you would. There's an Orzhov Pontiff. There's a bit of black. But the big thing with this deck is twofold. One, the deck is a lot more consistent because its mana base is a lot stronger to like it is just very simple. It gets to play Gavany Township and Horizon Canopy, which are both powerful lands. And the combo, the combo that it uses to win, we saw in game 1, is Archangel of Thune and Spike Feeder. So those two cards, Archangel of Thune says whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Spike Feeder says remove a +1/+1 counter from this card, gain 2 life. You can see the two interactions immediately where you remove a counter, gain 2 life, put a counter on this card. Remove a counter, gain 2 life, etc., etc., etc. Also,
basically, what Spike Feeder says is remove a counter from this card, put a counter on this card, gain a life.
Also, Archangel of Thune gets a +1/+1 counter. So it becomes an infinite flyer.
So not only do they get to gain infinite life, they also get to have a arbitrarily large creature with evasion.
So unlike the combo with Malira, which hopefully I'll talk about more in depth if we see the deck. But the Malira combo is a 3-card combo, whereas this is a 2-card combo that involves. But the thing is, the 2 cards in this are a little more fringe. Like Archangel of Thune is not like a very playable card, and Spike Feeder is not.
Spike Feeder is a gray ogre.
Well, Spike Feeder used to be very good when damage on the stack existed. It's a gray ogre that used to be able to block and gain 4 life, which was what we called. There's a couple of cards like that, but Spike Feeder was the old one. It was great. It was quite good as far as like a creature that fought burn. It was a creature that it kind of did the sack tribe trick. And then Court of Calling is the reason it's called Archangel Court is because one, deck names these days are no fun. It's the no fun zone. You have to have your deck just that is the basic name that describes the
Like,
deck.
is that what Wizard calls it, or is that the guy who
Wizards,
pilots it
wizards.
calls it?
The guy who pilots it probably calls it something cool.
Yeah, probably calls it. What would be a cool name for this? It has to be like
I don't
it's a
know.
combo deck, so it has to be named after a breakfast food.
Spike Feeder Archangel. How do we? Yeah. Also, the Walrus chord interaction is really strong. Just gonna point.
Hmm.
Yeah, strange MD points that one out. So yeah, the deck is gets to be a nice combo deck in that way. We have a chance fighting Droko 9. But yeah, it's a very nice deck in the sense that it can also like kind of play a
You can also just beat your opponent to death with
well,
with an angel if it comes to it.
right, like it's not a good deck at being aggressive at all, but the inclusion of Archangel Athun plus like Corsair, Archangel Athun plus Scavenging Ooze, and also Gavany Township, which is a 4 of in the list. 4.
Yeah, Monodorks and Gavany Township is just like a thing you can do.
That's a
Like, it
time
just
honored.
works.
That's a time honored tradition in the damn format. Like,
Hmm.
if you just have like birds and like Gavany Township, sooner or later those birds are gonna be like 4 or 5 flyers and kick your opponent's ass.
Hmm.
So it's very nice.
I I always wonder why a lot of decks play Horizon Canopy, but not Knight of the Reliquary, because that's like the only reason I can think of to play it, other than like it just being like a pain that can cantrip.
So there's the reason that Gnome was mentioning breakfast names is that all combo decks are named after breakfasts. Back at least
Yeah,
they used to be.
they used to be.
These days they get like deck like let me read off the deck names in here. We have Blue Red Eldrazi, Affinity, Colorless Eldrazi, Archangel Cord, Burn, Abzan Company, Green Red Valakut, Through the Breach, Death Shadow Aggro, Infect, Jeskai Control. Like none of those are. Yes, they are. Some of those aren't even very descriptive. Like Abzan Company doesn't actually tell you anything about the deck.
Or Affinity, when it plays a Affinity card, it plays
Affinity. Well,
Thoughtcast.
that one is actually a concession.
Yeah,
Um,
because it used to be called Affinity.
that's both historical and Wizards really wanted to not call it Affinity, but they couldn't get people to stop calling it Affinity. They just couldn't. They wanted to call it Robots or whatever, and they could not stop people from calling it Affinity, even though Affinity has this very downside. This hand in a vacuum just freaking blows.
Yeah, if our opponent is playing Burn, this hand owns. If our opponent is not playing Burn, this hand sucks. So we should probably mulligan this hand.
Like,
Also, our opponent mulliganed as well, so we're not going down a card. This hand is just fine.
acceptable. I have to use the fetch, but this is actually a fine hand, so we'll keep it.
You could also, do you lead with Fetch?
No,
Or do you just lead with Volakut? Yeah.
lead with Valakut. Also, we get a scry, which will be nice. I want to find a green source off the scry so that I can Kalani Heart.
Slough9 is deciding whether to mulligan to 5 cards.
No, he's not. I kept. What? No. Magic Online, what are you doing? What? No, what? Help. Help.
Our opponent has priority.
Help.
Wait, is our opponent scrying and then we get to scry?
Well,
or...
yeah, well, 6 and 53, so yeah. I'm putting this
Okay.
on bottom.
Our opponent was scrying.
I'm putting this on bottom.
It made it look like we were deciding
Help.
whether...
Ooh, Black Cleave
John,
Cliffs.
we already know what our opponent's playing, and
No, that's
by
bad.
probably
Yeah,
Skite.
Skite, because it's the card that interacts with our opponent rather than the card that doesn't do anything.
So our opponent is playing Jund. That's the only deck that plays Black Reeve Cliffs. I'm
Playing that
playing
Relic.
with Mountain to play Relic. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm willing to bypass to play the Relic.
Like, lands aren't going to be a problem.
Yeah.
We can just play the Valakut off Explorer if we want to. Did our opponent keep a one-lander?
They did.
They kept a one lander with with Inquisition. I would do that as well, perhaps. Play the Stirring Mulligan step. Pay life 5. Pay 5 life. Your opponent mulligans.
Uh,
Your opponent mulligans.
you are opponent mulligans. Mm. But seriously, that card would be busted.
Yeah, it would have to be like a conspiracy card.
Well, because like, I wouldn't even print that because it's just unfun. It's like, oh, by the way, you mulligan and you lose the game like before this game starts. So have fun with that.
Lead with Expedition, then we can hopefully sack Tribe and Explore.
Yeah. So here's the question.
Mm-hmm.
Do I just start grabbing mountains right now?
To use the Volacute in our hand,
I think I might just do that.
if that works.
So yeah, this is gonna be because we have, you know what? Yeah, sure, whatever. I might overshift, but that's fine. I want to be able to like use Valakut that we actually have just straight.
Mm. So we kind of want to draw untapped land next turn.
It'd be nice. It's not
We
necessary.
don't need to, but it would be nice. And here's this glorious Jund mana base. Look at that.
Dark Confidant.
Yes! Yes! I hope we get this again. Okay, I think your decision paid off.
Always yes to the trigger.
So, do you...
No, we're gonna...
Yeah, Sack Tribe I think is better. It keeps him from attacking with Bob.
Yeah.
If he does attack with Bob, do you just take the trade, or do you block and sack?
Let's find out what he flips. Land. Swamp.
I hate that art, that Bob art.
Liliana of the Veil. Check it. I'm discarding Explore because Explore is a dead card.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, I'm getting eaten.
Wow, our opponent is dumb.
All right, I accept.
Wow.
This is gonna rule.
Why did you do that?
Well, they wanted to attack with Bob. I understand. By the way, I'm gonna go ahead and murder my opponent or whatever. So check this out. This is gonna be cool.
Let's see what we get off the Explorer. Also, we can Psycho Relic if we want to.
Alright, so I've got 4 mountains in play. Mountain. Mountain. Oh, look!
So do you murder our opponent, or do we just kill all his creatures and planeswalkers? Or both?
Would you like to use it? Yes. Also, give me an always yes. I'm killing your Bob. Yes, I'd like to use Valakut. Do you want to redirect the damage?
Well, Lily at this point doesn't do anything because we're hellbent.
Yep.
And we have no creatures.
Oh, I clicked no on use the ability. Sweet.
Wow.
Give me an always yes on these.
That's okay.
That's good.
That's mistake for mistake. That's how we do things here in Magic Central.
Anyway, I'm going to kill my opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Mistake for mistake. That could cost me. Alright, Kitchen Finks, that's fine.
And then, do we Cycle Relic, or do we, like, instep? I mean, we don't do it now, obviously, but he probably doesn't even plus Liliana.
I don't...
Like, do you want the card, or do you want to exile Bob?
Well, it exiles Bob on the card, too. Anyway, I want... Alright, Search for Tomorrow. I think that's game, then. So...
Oh wow, okay.
Windswept Heath. Go grab Cinderglade. Oh look. Give me a damage. Damage. And then give me the always yes to him, and then excuse me, I'm gonna go find some more mountains. So this is how the game works too. When like, sometimes you don't actually need to combo win. You have your ramp is actually your win con, and that's the strength of the deck too. Like one of the things about ramp is that like sometimes you see all the ramp in the world like this, and you can't win because all you did was ramp into nothing.
Whereas this search for tomorrow is going to be 6 damage to our opponent.
No, I still don't ever want to redirect, so I have to like bounce. Boing.
Yeah, he could discard a card, so the following turn he could force himself to sack Station Finks to gain life.
So anyway, that's Valakut functioning in like this weird way where like sometimes you don't need Scapeshift to win.
Yeah, our opponent is at -2, so they would be at negative. Right. They'd be at 1
so,
if.
This is Obstinate Baloth's Central.
Mm-hmm. Do the relics do anything? He probably. I forget.
Yeah, well, he had Kitchen Finks like that immediately.
He had Finks. Yeah, that works. Yeah, you tap the relic and while the Finks is in the yard.
Spellskites in a pact, perhaps.
Yeah, the Skites could be realistic because he's probably playing Bolt because every red deck plays Bolt. But
well, like we can see our opponent's list. There's 4 Bolt, 2 Abrupt Decay, 1 Koligon's Command, 2 Terminate, and a Slaughter Pact. And then
who cares though? Because we have no creatures except Primeval Titan.
Maybe next time just kill Lily so it doesn't ask to redirect. That's fair.
That's fair. But yeah, Obstinate Baloth here is going to be great. I hope he lets us do the thing with that.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep Bolton because I want to be able to kill like Bob. It's basically
Bob.
it.
You could also like kill half a Finks if we're going to die.
I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, that seems fine.
I'm gonna keep the Summoner's Pact in because I can do like garbage.
Here's a question: if you only have Summoner's Pact in hand and he pluses Liliana, yes. Do you summon in response?
Yeah, if I've got the mana, yes. I will keep this.
It seems fine.
This is good. That's a turn 4 Titan.
It's a turn 4 Titan when we will have Valakuts in play already.
Though also, so does that mean again with the Valakuts in hand, do I just start grabbing mountains?
We may indeed start just grabbing mountains.
And am I taking bad thing an Inquisition?
With that, again, that Blackleaf Cliffs.
I'm taking an Inquisition. Yep. By the way,
so Sack Tribe is gone probably.
Explore.
No, the Explorer.
Nice.
So we just do that next turn.
Yeah, we're gonna start grabbing mountains. If we already have the Valakuts, we just start grabbing the mountains.
Okay.
Dark Confidant.
Yeah, but that Blackleaf Cliffs right there is one of the strengths of Jund.
So I'm actually not gonna play the Sack Tribe here because I want to play the Kalani Heart.
Yeah, Kalani Heart. The next turn we Foothills, Sack Tribe, and then that's our Kalani Heart.
Yeah. He actually, if he has it, I would say spending Abrupt Decay on Kalani Heart is correct.
Let's see if he does it. Because what else do we have for it? Like, that's our thing.
The Titan, he reveals Forest. All right. So he's got the colors for it, too. So it's very hard for him to be able to control us because the normal cards that interact with us don't interact very well with us at all.
My Wizard Eyes froze. Let's see if they come back.
He did. He hit the Abrupt Decay.
Yeah, that is one of our few targets for Abrupt Decay. We like that, and like Sack Tribe dies, Relic.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't kill Titan.
Yeah, so that's correct to do. Especially because I was just gonna pop it. All right, so let's play Sack Tribe and another Valakut. Actually,
Or do you want to play Foothill? No, the thing's gone. What was our draw?
Our draw was land.
Oh, well, who cares then?
actually not going to play Valakut at this point.
Hmm.
It's a bit odd, but I'm actually trying to count the number of mountains. So, like, I'm trying to count down the Primeval Titan correctly so that the Primeval Titan will immediately do something on coming to play.
Yeah.
Did the Wizard Eyes like have problems, or what? Are you
Oh
still
yeah,
in hell?
yeah, I mentioned it, but yeah, my Wizard Eye still have Sack Tribe on the stack. It's more important to play if you get a moment. There we go. Actually, wait, no. Yeah, there we go. We got Sack Tribes in play. Attacking with Bob. Gee, I wonder what we're going to do.
I'm actually gonna block and sack. I'm not gonna block and kill Bob.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Sack Tribe Builder is rampant growth. It's just gain 2 life.
Sadly, it used to be able to do the kill here. Like this was actually the mortal enemy of Dark Confidants, but I need to be able to cast this primetime on time. It was the big thing.
Man, good old Bob. I think that's like one of the bad things about Jund as a deck, is it's kind of like a fair deck that just hoses everybody rather than a deck that does something unfair.
Right, there's a lot of like good cards in it and whatever, but it's also like a lot of like it has to rely on its interaction pieces, and against me, the interaction pieces kind of fail. He might be playing
Yeah, they're
like
not quite good
Kalitas
enough.
here.
Yeah.
Sure.
We just play it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna play it. So I'm gonna play.
I mean, it blocks Kalitas.
Yeah. It might die and get him a 2/2 or whatever, but it also gains me 4 life.
Now watch him play Liliana.
Oh, Slaughter Pact.
Interesting.
All right.
Yeah, we might have just turned down some of his removal. Yeah, that's it. It's fair, but it's made in every piece of every cardboard in the deck is Value Town.
Yeah. Anyway, going to find another mountain. I think we're actually going to find Cinderglade here.
Seems fine.
And then next turn I will play Mountain and play Primeval Titan. Kolagon's Command entered the revealed card zone.
Mm.
And then he's going to pay 3 and not lose. Good choice.
Pay 3 to not lose the game. And attack in for some damage.
And lifelink.
Well,
Again,
we'll see if he has the... Our prime time is probably dead.
oh, yeah, but it's going to grab us mountains and turn on our Valakuts, so... I'm also likely just going to do board control with this. Oh, and a second prime time.
Ah, well, one Titan dies, the second will take its place.
What do I want to kill?
If you kill Bob, does it make a zombie?
Opponents?
I forget the opponents. Okay. Could we kill Kalitas?
Yeah, because he doesn't have the mana up to sack, and I might just want to do that.
Yeah, Bob could help us in the long run.
Perhaps.
But could also give our opponent lands, so they draw into their real spells. Our opponent's been having pretty good Bob luck, all things considered.
Decent. I mean, the deck is also designed for that. Everything's low cost, high impact. So we're going to grab 2 Cinderglades. And we're just going to nuke out this, and always yes to the trigger. Alright. Land off Confidant. So he does have the ability to make me discard 1 card if he chooses to. Which, I mean, that's what discarding Valakut's for. I don't want to discard the Valakut, of course. But I don't think he's going to use the that mode on there. He just took a bunch of damage for untapped duels. What the
Let's see what
hell's going on?
happens.
I assume I'm getting edicted, right? Thank you.
Yep, that's what happens. So Lily comes down. What is he holding up?
I don't know, but he must be doing something.
Maybe he just wants to cast. Yeah, he's casting Kolaghan's command.
No, Fulminator Mage to destroy target non-basic land and out of the sideboard.
So there goes Valakut, but we have our
I was
backup.
gonna say, luckily we have a backup Valakut.
So we take 4 here. We play Valakut in prime time to
For a Valakut in a mountain.
for Valakut in a mountain. Kill his board, probably.
Yeah. Oh, sweet. I can suspend that. Just barely.
Yeah, just barely.
Do I need that for green? Sorry. Whoops. So yeah, we're gonna grab a Valakut and a and some form of mountain.
Either mountain straight or perhaps stomping ground at this point. Like it hardly matters, but
I'm
our
going,
stomping ground's in play already. Oh. So there's a Cinder Glade left, and the rest are mountains.
do I care about nuking off the Liliana?
If he wants to get rid of our prime time with it, he has to discard uh, and then minus. And at that point, we could just attack down to Liliana.
So
So prime time,
kill off zombie.
or we could just kill Liliana. Like he's probably going to kill Primeval Titan anyways.
We know his hand is Kolaghan's command and like another land. Like I actually know the contents.
Yeah, he has a Blackweave Cliffs Kolaghan's command. He'll have 2 unknowns when he untaps.
I'm gonna wrath his board instead. Also, always yes to the triggers. And I'm gonna suspend the search for tomorrow, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, full. Oh, jeez, more always yeses. Right, because these are 2 different new ones.
Mm-hmm. They are new.
All right, so search for tomorrow suspended. We have nothing for Liliana to strip. Our opponent, does have the ability to go Kolaghan's command to get Fulminator Mage back to cut me off of a Valakut again, which he might be worth doing.
Which you probably should
Oh,
do.
he
just concedes.
So he has no way to answer the Primeval Titan. He's dead.
Yeah, he just dies.
So
we attack him with Primeval Titan, and then lands pop out of our deck and kill our opponent. So we got to do the Scapeshift thing once, and then we got to do the Primeval thing once, and then we got to do
just a normal ramp plan
once. So that was good.
Yeah. So this is the bolt off the top. Bolt actually the deadest card because Mountain is double bolt.
Although we could cast Bolt and then double Bolt. Yeah. We could use Bolt to kill Liliana, and then we could just kill our opponent. How about that?
Yeah. Anyway, so this was good. It was free. I got back my 60. So this was I guess a nice showcase of Modern in a way. The deck, this isn't like super standard, at least in this deck, but the decks we saw are some pretty, like Jund is a very stock Modern deck.
This is a sort of deck that somebody will be playing if you go to a Modern event.
Yeah. And the Gavany Township style deck, that one right there, the core, that is also a deck you'll see at Modern events.
It might have Knight of the Reliquary in it if you play that kind of but it might also have Archangel of Thune or something.
Yeah.
Just we all love Knight of the Reliquary.
But yeah, so that's the Modern Gauntlet. I like this feature. I'm very happy with this feature just because it lets you, like, say you actually want to play Modern and you want to just, you can get more familiar with the decks and the format without investing much at all.
Yeah, 60 play points. Are they going to keep it like...
This is just 1 week.
Are they going to do standard next week or something?
I think they're going to do. I think they're going to do it after Pro Tours. Is the idea. So
Yeah.
this is going to be a once every like 3-month feature.
Mm.
So not all. Anyway,
It's a nice sort of event.
I'm very happy with the feature. Also, that was much quicker than I expected. I expected that was 3 rounds in an hour and a half.
Well, the one reason is because normally when we do Swiss, it's like
It's
either
draft.
has a draft or it has or more even commonly the other format I can't remember because it's late.
But yeah, so 60 play
Sealed.
points. 60 play points is 6 tickets, aka $6, which is a bit expensive. But you get to learn, and the learning is actually what I think the biggest gain is, because you can look at the lists and kind of understand what a deck does, but there isn't really a substitute for play.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also decks like every one of these decks is designed to win very quickly, except for the control decks, which are meant to do the opposite of that.
Right.
So,
Well, even the control decks are meant to win quickly.
they're meant to win quickly, but they're not like turn 4 decks.
No. I mean, you could turn 5 out of the Abzan one if you just go end step resto Kiki ha 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 ha.
Yeah, you could do that indeed. Yeah, or
it's possible.
you could.
But like the Blue Moon deck is playing Batterskull to tell you about its speed.
Batterskull is not a card you win quickly with. It is a card
No.
you win with.
But like Infect, that's a deck for fast winners.
Yeah, that's a deck where you vomit your hand, and then like on turn 3 you already won.
So
Sometimes.
anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, because it was a different feature. It was new. It was something cool.
It was great.
I want to do one more of these just to maybe show off a bit more of the slice of it, but
We'll find the time for it. Like, how long does this stay around?
Wednesday.
So we've got time.
AKA we've got until everyone takes off and leaves.
Yeah, we've got that much time. I hope when we play next time we get Goryo's Vengeance, because that is perhaps the most interesting deck to play, I think.
I will actually accept all of them. Like, there's not a deck on the list that I would not like to play, because this is.
We've already played this one. Like, I wouldn't want to
Okay,
double up on
yes, I wouldn't want.
Scapeshift.
Fine, I wouldn't want to double up on Scapeshift. We already did this, and it wouldn't be. We already showed off the tricks in it, the cool, the different ways to win in it. We got to.
But can you imagine, like, if living into we're in this pool, like some guy who had never heard of the deck was suddenly playing it? That'd be amazing.
They actually they cut out Lantern Control for that reason.
Yeah. Also, living into kind of sucks as its dark secret.
Yeah.
It's a good deck. It was a good deck for that tournament. It wasn't a good deck all the time.
Well, right, because it was for that tournament. It was a nifty. It was good against what was going on. Pro high level events get very meta.
They do, yeah. And which is why there were so many like Eldrazi decks, because everybody brought one because they knew it was going to be good. Momir Basic.
That is a
you
queue.
can just play Momir Basic.
Yeah, it's a queue where you enter, you pay 20 phantom points, and you win 30 or something like that if you win. Which is hold on. In how many states is that considered gambling? Momir Basic. I'm gonna say Momir Basic is gambling.
Momir Basic is gambling.
How close to gambling are you if you're at?
It's also the closest way for, like, if you ever wanted to donate play points to somebody, this is how you would do it. You would have to pay they take their cut.
The cut. Freaking fun. I'm sorry. The existence of this queue has me laughing. Oh man. Anyway, I'm gonna put this back to the limited tournament one, because that's the one I use the most.
Money match Momir. Makes 5 drops. Makes 5 drops. Makes 5 drops.
Leveler shows up.
I refuse to die.
Leveler shows up. Double zeros. Everyone loses.
Oh.
Anyway, I got 12 Sorens. That's what I was looking at, was how many Sorens I had. Anyway, there's nothing else going on here. I'm just kind of futzing around at this point. So, Thank you, Gnome, for joining for the interesting Gauntlet.
We got to play a combo deck. It was interesting.
we got to play a combo deck that is the progenitor of the volcano blowout.
Yeah, we blowed them out with a volcano.
Yeah,
That's
that's
how we do
literally
it.
how you win. And thank you everybody in the zoo. Hope you all enjoyed this slightly different than normal view, because almost all of my stuff is based on limited, so getting a bit of a slice of constructed is something different. So hope you
And
all enjoyed it.
thank you, Karn, for apparently
Thank
costing 4 mana now.
Yeah, 3 and C. It's a secret. That's the secret message Karn has for you. Good night,
Good night,
everybody.
everybody. Hey, we got the drift.
Very nice.